bada bing, bada boom. We're back. Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday afternoon. You are watching Roll for Mischief. We are your favorite nerds. At least I like to think so. We're going to continue session 3 of this episode 11 that we're calling Firestarter, being dungeon mastered by Asa, who is now over there. And where did we leave off? Oh, yeah, we left off with Eridu smelling super fresh with his lavender perfume. Came up on the party and took a hand and put it over Ellie's hand that was holding the speaking stone that Ellie was using to communicate with this character named Ethel. And Eridu said something like, what do you say, Asa?
You must stop speaking with her.
And then he said something about how we can help him with something here.
Hmm?
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's
Something
basically
about...
an Eridu version of the shh.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Because we all know Eridu can't say things in just like one word. He's got to give some kind of speech.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Elf thing.
Eridu, my friend, where have you been?
I don't think that really matters right now. What does matter is where we are going. And he, with this, starts to walk. And he starts to make his way towards the hillside. And those of you who are paying attention, being Halifax and maybe Egner, are noticing he's taking a path that is pretty well traveled by the mages. And then he just kind of stops and studies the hillside for a minute and says, somewhere inside this hill, there is a gateway. And that gateway will lead us to someone that I have been desperately looking for all of my life. Or at least a good chunk of it.
I mean, I think that's a sound hypothesis there, Eridu. Yes.
And then he looks at Agner and says, I know you cannot see it, but do you remember this place?
It does smell familiar. I have not been able to place anything.
I haven't seen it myself, but I've only heard it through the stories you've all told. It seems this place was a place where Akram grew a sort of conscience, an awareness of more than the world he lived in.
Akram.
Yes. Don't you remember the time that he brutally slayed some kobolds with no real question towards the fact that they might have families and motives outside of plunder and death?
Well, first of all, I don't think it was just Akram that did that.
I wasn't there.
No. No, you weren't. And it was for the better that you weren't. But what
Ellie would have heard this story as well.
Okay.
And it was it's specifically, coming from this. Actually, Halifax would have too, because having studied Akram, Akram wrote songs about it, and it was a time where, while tracking a group of kobolds that kept assaulting caravans, when they made their way into the hillside, he came across a group of them eating some kind of meal, and the whole party engaged in combat with them and slayed them. Only afterwards did Akram realize that these were, the families of the fighting kobolds, that they themselves weren't any real threat. It hit Akram especially hard, but On and Agner also were responsible.
Yeah. So Egner will say, "Are you saying there is some kind of connection? Do the kobolds in this area have something to do with this gateway you're talking about?"
Well, we never did question why they were here, but I've spoken with Siskar several times since, and she has informed me that they believed there was a road to salvation in these hills, something that would have led them to freedom. That's why they were here. If it were not for Akram's promise, she would have led them blindly into this abyss, regardless of where it leads.
Hmm. I see. Who is behind this gateway that you're speaking about?
I cannot be certain, but I am hoping this will lead to my sister.
I didn't know you had a sister.
I don't speak of it much. It is in a life before the life I knew you in, Edgar, as was my time as a shadow dancer. Things I don't speak of because there are many regrets. But the resurfacing of my father has led me to believe that it is time for me to reconcile with my old life.
Egner seems visibly disturbed when you bring up the part about your father coming back into the situation, because he knows he's directly responsible for that happening, and then he says something like, "Sometimes I realize, Eridu, there is very much I don't know about you."
There is very much about myself that I hoped was no longer relevant, that I was not that person anymore. But it seems my past just keeps coming back to me.
And so we're seeking your sister to help with your father.
Yes, I think she will be very valuable, though I don't know how.
Family is a strong force. Perhaps it behooves us to seek her out. Do you know which tunnel it is that we need to venture into? This hillside looks dangerous.
I do not. I was hoping that if the mages went this way, maybe they would have tried to find the portal themselves, if they even knew it was here. He looks back at the dead mages and said, actually, I was hoping to find one of them and see if they could feel its magic. Siskar spoke as though it called to her. I don't know how that is.
Allow me. And I am going to spend 10 minutes to ritual cast Detect Magic. And so during those 10 minutes, if Agna wants to grill Eridu on more of the whole sister thing.
Can I do something in the 10 minutes?
Of course.
I would like to move away from the group a little bit and sort of tinker together a little recording device and then use a wire. I don't know if it's going to work, but why not? Attach like a wire to it and wrap it around the sending stone. And then I'm going to record on the device. I'm sorry, we cannot come to the sending stone right now. Please leave a message after the tone. And then make like a beep, and then just go beep, and then that's the recording. And hope that if she calls back, I'll get a recording.
Oh my goodness. That is perfect.
Do you have Tinker's tools? Is that a part of your class?
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
yeah,
does
I can,
she
like,
have
make
Tinker's tools?
Make me
It's my whole
a
thing.
check with your tinker tools.
Oh, I don't know if it's well. Okay, I'll do it as a check, but it
Yeah,
is one
I
of
think you
my
just get your proficiency modifier plus, plus. I don't think you get any attribute modifiers, but I think you get proficiency, and then if you have a
Well,
class,
it says.
the bonuses.
Well, it'd
I
be
mean,
in conjunction with some kind of check, though, right? It'd be.
I don't. Well, so all it says is if that's the same thing. It'd be a tiny non-magical object with a magical property. That's not really what I'm doing. Yeah. Okay. I can't find where actually. So what am I adding to the roll?
Because you're doing a magical thing, I will give you your Arcana, or your Tinker, whichever is higher.
There's no real
I don't know.
tinker skill. You just go with
Yeah,
Arcana.
So how gear works, like lockpicking gear or anything like that, is you just have the tools, and you make the tools with proficiency if you are proficient in them.
Yes, there's usually an ability associated with it, so it's an ability check.
That's
rather than
the
with a
point I was
skill.
trying to make.
It's tool proficiency. On because rather than using a skill, you're using a tool.
I'm
But
mostly
yeah,
trying to roll to see the quality that she can build this with.
Yeah. So it'd be like intelligence. Intelligence plus proficiency because you're proficient in Tinker's tools.
I see what you're saying. Okay, so it gives you that open-endedness to be like, make a Tinker's tool check and use your intelligence in this situation.
Yeah.
Cool.
So what am I adding to it? Intelligence. Oh.
Plus your proficiency bonus.
Yep.
Okay. Which is 4. 24.
Okay. You spend some careful time on the device, and you are reasonably sure that it is going to do what you hope it will.
Cool.
Please
You
leave a
have
message
created-
after the beep.
Love it.
You seem to have created an answering machine. That's pretty
The
awesome.
first ever answering machine in the entire world. And it's
She's
just gonna
essentially created the first ever Walkman and not the first ever telephone, because sending stones are a thing that already exists.
Yeah.
But now the first ever answering machine. That's
Mhm.
incredible. It's a wonder the ISCB are tracking her down.
She's gonna
Well,
be
so far they've not made that many obvious moves on me in game.
All I'm
Yeah.
saying is that it's gonna get to the point where you are more wanted than Egner.
Yeah.
Currently, Egner is the ISCB's most wanted.
Yeah, they can blame Ethel for that. She was like, I just want to find Agner all the time. Alright, so Pilofax is casting his detect magic. You were seeing this faint energy happening that seems to be growing in power, and you look over and notice Ellie is doing a thing with magic. But she seemed to be conscientious, and it seems like she's moving away from you, so she's not disturbing you. And then as you try to centrally focus on what you're really looking for, you feel like something hooks into your belly button and just starts to pull you.
Ooh. Let's go with that. I'm gonna go ahead and sort of follow that pull.
All right. Yeah, you begin to follow that pull, and it leads you up a small slope and into this cave. You have to duck a little bit. It's about maybe 4.5 feet foot mouth opening. You have to duck a little bit to get inside and kind of crouch as you're in the cave itself. But it's opening a little more. Eridu is following you, not saying much, not trying to disturb your focus. And I'm assuming everyone else is going to do the same. So I'm not going to speak for you.
Oh, Egner is definitely following the perfume, is what he's doing.
Yep.
Ein cannot fit inside of this cave.
No. How big is the cave? How far does he need to be? How long would he need to be small for? Is what I'm asking.
I would say probably about 5 minutes would be enough to get into
Oh,
a spot in the cave where it'll open up again and widen out.
that's not enough. Right.
Because
Oh,
you guys
are we going?
a minute, right?
Are we going through a portal and not coming back? Is that what you're saying? Or
I am not saying that. I'm saying through a portal.
Eridu? Are we going through a portal and not coming back?
You have a better understanding of how these sorts of devices work than I do. Can
Good
a
answer.
device like this be traveled through the other way? I mean, if we go back to the portal that the drow came from, they reasonably were sent through that portal and have come back through it. Is that right, Agner? You were the one who opened it.
I don't. Look, you know me. I don't do magic. I don't hardly understand magic at all. I wouldn't be able to tell you the first thing. I mean, sure, I've been around it and been proxy to some things and whatnot, but it's not like I know, because I don't.
Okay, I'll just leave him here. It's fine. No need to argue, guys.
I will leave Tobias alongside him.
Aww, he's got company.
I mean, he does until Drew goes through until Halifax goes through a portal, and then.
I can leave the familiar doesn't need to stay within range of me.
Only to
Yeah.
use like certain abilities and stuff, I think.
That's true, yeah.
Okay. Well,
I can stuff that guy into a box and post him to the other side of the world.
yeah, but if you go to a different plane, does he disappear?
Ooh. Well, who knows if
I-
we're actually going to go to a different plane, but that would be fucking crazy.
I don't think so. I think when it's summoned into this world, it's counted as just like a physical creature in this world. But I will double check.
Anyway, that's fine.
Research just to make sure that Ein isn't lonely.
I just want to make sure Ein has a friend. That's all.
As a
I'll make a
I've got you
Wilson.
covered. Ein will not be alone. Don't you worry.
Mhm. Oh. No, don't take it.
Alright.
So we going through this cave.
Going through this cave. Egner, make me a perception check.
Word. Double checking the number really quick, but I'm pretty sure it is a 21.
Okay.
What do I smell?
As we're walking, you're feeling the vibrations of the cave.
Oh.
And it every once in a while it does seem to like shudder and vibrate as though there's movement in the hillside itself. But you occasionally catch a whiff of something that's not damp and moldy and dirty. I don't know, that bird smell. And you're kind of getting this sense that you're being followed, but it's actually kind of like coming from ahead of you.
We're being followed from ahead of us.
Or more like being tracked from the front, if you will. I don't know. It's a weird way to explain being followed, but the smell is coming from inside the cave.
Well, I can't use pass without trace. Is Halifax leading?
Yes.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna do.
Igner, what do your human nostrils smell?
More than you know, Halifax. More than you know. I'm gonna say that I'm the one that's directly behind Halifax. Or maybe it might make
That's
more
fine.
sense for
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I push past Eridu, and I touch Halifax on the shoulder, give him a little bit of a rub, just like a little payback from earlier, just like a nice little shoulder rub, you know. and then I'll say, my friend, be cautious. There's something up ahead. And at the same time, I will cast Shield of Faith on you.
Okay.
And for the next 10 minutes, as long as I can concentrate on it, you've got +2 to your AC.
All right. The next 10 minutes passes with Halifax wandering through or leading through the hillside. Occasionally, you find there are paths branching off of this main one, or this one you're headed on, and Halifax takes turns here and there. It's difficult to track exactly where this is going. If you needed to make a quick escape, it could be very easy to get lost in the labyrinth down here. But it is pretty obvious that you are gradually going further down. And after about 10 minutes, you come to an area that is opening into it looks like a small chamber just carved into the dirt. There are lots of little holes and openings leading into this room, as though it's a center point of a large ant mound or ant hill. And just resting in the center is a small golden disc, and a small, I mean like 2 feet in diameter. And it seems to have repelled the dirt around it completely, and there is an etching along it that is faintly glowing, but isn't actually fully active.
Is this out of character? Is this the chamber where we first met? Not
Scar,
the Scar. Yeah.
No, but you did pass through that chamber to come here. And it's not actually that far away.
This is a deep cut, dude. You're going way back.
It would have been difficult to fit the number of kobolds in that room into this room itself.
Okay. So, lots of passageways in, gold disc in the middle. Is the gold disc in the middle of the room?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this room is, like, perfectly domed. Getting a good look at it, this is something probably Ellie and Halifax would definitely recognize. This is unnaturally symmetrical.
Ellie, would you perhaps lend me your eyes? Sorry, Agna. And
no offense taken. Whatever. Over it.
Help me examine this disc. I want to see if this is perhaps a button or a stand or somehow connected to the mechanism of how this place might work.
Okay.
I'm going to make an investigation check, if that pleases the almighty Dungeon Master.
I'm very pleased.
Wonderful. And I would like to cheekily make it with advantage, since I am stealing Ellie and having her help.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Or I'm helping Ellie. I'm not sure which one would be better. But I just rolled a 19. So.
Nice.
+5, that's 24.
Okay.
Would this have been better for Ellie to lead on? Now that I've said that, so I get +5 to investigation. What does Ellie get?
+9.
Oh, should have been you. Should have been you.
I just look at you and shrug. You wanted to take the lead.
Yep.
Yeah. You're investigating it in hopes of finding just answers to how it would function in this room. It belongs. Did you hear me?
Huh?
What?
No, sorry. What?
Oh, you're investigating it just to try to figure out like how this disc interacts with this room and the shape.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the way I'm doing that is by basically like physically like poking, prodding, seeing if it
Mm.
turns, and like I'm getting all up in this skull plate, you know.
Can
Gotcha.
I do
Yeah.
an Arcana check while he's doing that? I know that I'm helping, but
Yeah. I'll let you do an Arcana check, and I'll give you the results of that after his results because that would happen second. So you guys are both sort of checking out this thing. You're seeing the faint aura of the etchings into it, and um, one thing that you're able to kind of pick up, Halifax, as you're looking around at the room structure, the structure of the room, is that all the places in the etching that jut out of the like to the edge of the disc itself
Hmm.
correspond with one of the holes in the domed wall.
Okay. Okay.
You're not able to actually adjust or move, and every time you do touch the disc itself, you're getting this sort of static electrical shock. It's not enough to hurt you in any way, but it definitely is a little uncomfortable.
Hmm.
What was the Arcana check, Ellie?
27.
All right. Just this disc is obviously just a force of magic, but it's very faint, definitely inactive. But you can just kind of almost taste something in the air that is just this residual arcane power flowing through here,
Okay.
and that's like it seems like it just fills the whole room as you open yourself and kind of like pay attention a little more. It becomes almost like weird to you that you hadn't noticed the change immediately.
Okay. Can I cast Detect Magic?
Yeah, if you want to, it's just going to, in the way that the tech magic led Halifax here, you just see the faint aura of the disc itself, but then you see this like film covering all of the surface of this room, leading out the different paths um, from every direction.
Can we tell what School of Magic it is, though?
Oh, right.
Would Halifax have got that information anyway? Because otherwise I wouldn't have cast it.
Detect magic will give you that information. Arcana or
Yeah.
investigation wouldn't. So, God, I gotta know the schools of magic. I'm really bad at this.
Anytime that you need the lecture, Finnegan can just teleport in and say, like, look, you got abjuration that's, opposed by conjuration. You got evocation that's opposed by necromancy. Come on, this is Arcana 101. The fact that you don't get it proves you're an idiot. Just accept it already, okay?
God damn it, D&D, Rick. I don't need you coming in and telling me how to play my game. That's exactly the kind of shit he would do, though, with all the fourth wall breaking.
And
It's
that's
conjuration.
God, that's why he's my favorite character ever. Ever. He's the
It
best.
is.
It's what, sorry?
It's
It's
conjuration.
definitely the conjuration school of magic.
Conjuration.
That is residual energies are here.
Mhm.
And as they're investigating, Eridu is standing at the entrance of this little room, probably standing next to Agner because he needs somebody to lead him along the way. And he says, "I don't know if they have the tools to figure out how to open this, but I think you do. You have done it once before. Can't you do it again?"
Wait, who are you talking to?
To Agner.
Oh, to Agner?
Yeah.
Oh. Agner's just going to give him a sour look. Like, this entire time, he's been sitting there. He's been standing there, kind of leaned up against the wall, just listening, trying to pick up any clues that other people are saying, like, kind of listening to Halifax, him and Ha over the thing. And then as soon as Eridu says that, he just looks over and scoffs and just says, I told you, Eridu, I don't know anything about this. whatever I did recently, it was a mistake, it was an accident, or just some cruel twist of fate. I don't know what to call it. But it certainly wasn't me operating magical equipment the way it's supposed to be operated, or whatever. I don't know anything about it, Eridu.
Hearing the slightly raised voices echoing around the chamber, I'm going to approach Eridu and Aigna. Aigna, if there is, excuse me, if there is something that you're able to enact, consciously or not, that leads us closer to finding Emily, the number of people that might be saved is incalculable. I understand that this might be difficult, and that you may feel used by what you did before. But as Eridu mentioned, the path is forward, not back. Ellie and I will do what we can to try and decipher this, but it could take some time. This is the kind of artifacts that you'd find buried deep and spend months or years of your life decoding.
I mean, maybe you could just touch it with the sword. Might work.
I'd as
Or you
sooner
could just
smash.
bodge it, yeah.
Yeah, I'd just as well smash it, but I don't know, maybe just a gentle tap. I mean, yeah, okay, you convinced me. Just be wary. I don't know, if a bunch of monsters jump out of nowhere after I do this, then at least I tried to tell you that I don't know what I'm doing. At least I told you that. Okay? So I guess it's not on me. And he'll just keep like mumbling and grumbling to himself, like getting like slowly quieter as he'll just walk over to the center and slowly unsheathe Talon's blade and slowly, gingerly, will tap the tip of the blade onto the plate as soon as he can figure out where it is.
As you do this, the the lines of the plate ignite in green fire. The fire makes its way up the sword, and as it's glowing, there are runes set into the blade. If anybody knows Drow, they are inscribed in Drow lettering. And then the whole room, just like from the center of the plate, coming out and covering the whole room, just shoots this electric and powers green electrical like arcs that lurch out the different offshoots and chambers and like stop at the barrier of the walls. You all feel this warmth, but you can see as the earth around the disc and where the electric energy is stopping is just kind of, the dirt is melting and then kind of cooling and solidifying in place. And then the world around you becomes bathed in light. You are, as your eyes adjust to the sudden change, you notice that you're standing in the courtyard of a crumbling castle. The sun is high above the sky, casting everything in its glorious light.
I whisper, called it.
Look, is everyone alive, or am I here by myself, or what happened?
Put a hand on. Oh.
You're the player. You have precedent. You go.
I put a hand on gently on Agnes' shoulder and say quietly, "We're here."
Okay, all right. I was
and then
I was a little freaked out.
And then I describe the scene, like exactly what we can see too.
Okay.
Forgetting that Aigner's blind. Like,
Yeah, I know.
he's genuinely, like, lost a lot of
Yeah.
the time.
No shit. No shit.
You're not the only one. When I was coming up with this whole structure for this game, for this episode, I was like, Agner's not gonna have any idea where he's at because he can't see any of it.
Exactly. He's going to rely on some folks, and as Ellie describes the pastoral, beautiful scene in front of them, he'll just get this kind of twinge of disbelief in his voice and say, "There's no way it's that nice. I mean, come on, we were just in a creepy cave, like a bunch of energy unleashed. There's no way. I don't believe you. You don't have to make me feel better just because I can't see. Honestly."
Ellie,
Why are you being so mean? I didn't help you. Why would you
Okay,
protect?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I just take my hand away a little bit sadly, like, oh, okay.
Carrie,
Halifax, maybe you need to do
it.
Zoom chat, no.
Okay, check that real fast. Eridu smiles and as though he's also forgotten the Agner.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
says, "You have done quite well. I think we are exactly where we need to be." Leodin, you are making your way back from having buried a fresh body.
Married this poor schmuck.
As you're walking back into the or through the gates of your castle, you notice that there are 4 people standing in the center of the courtyard. One of them, although a bit thinner than you remember and looking a little more sickly than you had expected, is your brother. There we go. The other 3 you have no idea who they are.
Yeah, no, obviously. I don't know these people. Cool. So, I am feeling deeply confused, little suspicious that this might be a trick, but also like kind of overjoyed, and that's a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
So, let me just see if there's anything on my list that could be a fun thing that I can do.
Ooh, a list.
Yeah.
Oh, like a spell list? Are you gonna do a crazy spell on a video?
Yeah, I know, crazy spell.
Word. Wow.
No, I just have some weird things. No, I'm just gonna probably blurt out, Eridu, is that you?
Yeah, he turns at the sound of his voice and smiles and says, "Leodan, I have not seen you in far too long." And he begins to run toward you.
Can I would like to put out a hand and grab hold of the back of Eridu's clothes.
Uh-huh.
And ideally...
Yeah, so you grab the back of Eridu's robes and, what are you going to do?
I'd like to yank him back and, like, pull him to the floor.
Alright, opposing grapple checks. Roll.
Oh, what's that? Athletics. Oh, my strength is so bad. Why do I try to do strength thing? I'm not a strength fighter. No. 11.
It's better than me. I rolled a 3.
Okay, also.
You look, Eridu's weak and sick these days. I don't know what's up with him,
You
but
grab the back of his robes and just pull, and he like stumbles back and then falls and lands like on his butt, and just turns towards you and scowls.
I put a foot on his chest and pull out my sword and put it to his throat.
Well, that changes things.
what is happening? Egner will, because Egner hears a scuffle and he just like understands that things are happening, and he hears the shing and of the sword and everything, and he says, "What's going on?"
So everybody stay where they are.
Ellie, what do you
Okay.
think you're doing?
Hmm.
Who are
Alright,
you?
well,
Oh,
I'm gonna cast a spell at Ellie, so
oh,
hang on a
come on,
sec.
Halifax. Counter spell.
Like,
You're my pal.
me as player do not know what's going on. I had to quickly run and do a thing. So,
Look,
So,
you
Someone's
have
casting a spell on me. Counter-
hold on. So, just to recap it for Drew really quick. So, our party's right here. Alex's character is over here and sees Eridu, and then she says, "Eridu, is that you?" And she starts running toward them.
starts
And
running towards.
yeah. And then Eridu is gonna like run toward Leoden, but then Ellie grabs Eridu's robes, yanks him to the ground, throws him to the ground, puts a foot on his chest, pulls out her sword, and and then Egner's like, "What's going on?" And then now Leoden's gonna cast a spell at Ellie because Leoden doesn't thinks that Ellie's gonna really hurt Eridu, but I think Eridu's not Eridu.
I don't know what's happening anymore.
Okay.
What if Ellie's not Ellie?
I'm so confused.
Yeah, I am going to cast Counterspell, but only at 3rd level
Mm-hmm.
against whatever's happening.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I was just gonna cantrip, so
I'm pretty sure Egner's Egner though. I'm at least confident about that.
One thing about
Counterspell.
warlocks is that your spell is always cast at the highest possible spell level.
Well, if it's a cantrip, then it's
No.
not.
Yeah, and Counterspell specifically counters the process of casting spells, not cantrips. 5e does differentiate between the two, so I
Yep.
cannot
know?
stop cantrips.
Dude, I've totally played that wrong before then.
I mean, it
Oh.
seems moot because why would you waste a counterspell on a cantrip? So but like, it's interesting that because there's a difference between a spell and a cantrip, you can't actually by raw do that.
Alright.
Cast your spell if it's a cantrip.
Yeah.
a
So,
second though, because I haven't
Ellie,
ever cast this one before.
you're on your
Yeah.
own.
This
Cool.
were-
I could take a
I'm
cantrip.
casting Eldritch Blast.
Schmeldritch splashed.
all
I
right.
could probably take it after the
Yeah, and I for flavor, this instead of it being just like pure warlocky energy, it's basically a spike of fear.
Ah.
More like
But it still does the same thing. So let me roll it. What?
A one?
No, it's a 20. I can't
Oh,
roll.
what?
This is
I
not a
love
good start impression for Ellie in this girl. She's not doing well with women at the minute. I wouldn't. You know.
I was really all set to really like her and stuff, so this is going great.
You guys are gonna be so like kicking yourself in a minute.
We're starting off on a really good foot.
Ellie just sees another woman and she's like, "Stay away from Egner! You get out of here! No,
I mean, basically.
I know you're running toward Eridu, but you stay away from Egner."
Remind me, on D10s, if I roll a 0, that's a 10, right?
Oh God, what are you doing?
I know, I'm not even making this up. This is terrible.
Oh.
Rolling damage.
Um,
What type of
it can't
damage
be
is
that
this?
bad.
I'm only going to fire one beam, though, not like,
okay.
Not a trillion.
not 3 of them.
Word.
Does it
Yeah.
have a damage type?
That's
Force,
18.
I believe. No, force is.
Yeah,
I
what's
don't
the damage type on that spell, Alex?
Oh, it is. Hang on, it's not in there. It doesn't say. It just says energy.
It's not lightning or thunder, is it?
No, it just says energy. I mean, if anything, I would say it would be psychic, but it's not listed as that.
Interesting.
Okay, what's the damage?
18.
18.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well,
Also,
I mean, oh
don't touch my
god.
brother.
I take this blast, like, I guess, right in the back, but I'm going to hopefully stay standing because it wasn't too bad. And I shout back and say, uh, I don't think this is your brother, but
As
thanks
you
for that.
as you say that, you feel hands grasp your ankle, and make a dexterity save. Actually, yeah, just do that. That'll be good.
uh, 17.
17 is the total.
Yeah.
Okay. You get like he grabs your ankle and like forces you back, but he doesn't actually knock you over. While he's doing that, he kind of lunges forward, getting himself to his feet. It is force damage for Eldritch Blast.
Okay.
And then he says, "It's nonsense. I have been myself this whole time. You're here to save my sister. I don't know if it's you we can trust."
Can I, over my shoulder to Halifax, be like, do you have Dispel Magic?
This is getting ridiculous. I'm not going to sit here and be prodded over. And he turns and starts to walk towards Laird.
I cast Grease under his feet.
I do
Oh,
not
I
have
could do
dispel
something.
magic.
Oh.
No,
Can,
nor
can,
do I see, Ellie, the reason for your suspicions. We're in a new environment. Eridu is taking us to, apparently, his sister.
What's Agna doing? Sorry.
Egner would really like to, while Eridu was talking, Egner would really like to tune in and focus as hard as he can on all of these different aspects of Eridu that he's become familiar with. Not just the smell, like he's going to try and smell past the perfume. He's listening to the tone, the cadence of the voice. You know, if there's anything he can pick up about the movements, the way that Eridu is on the ground, you know, like he's really trying to verify, like, is this truly seeming like Eridu, or is there some shredded doubt, some kind of way that it seems disingenuous? So
I will give you an investigation check with advantage since you're using your senses. Not investigation check.
insight, cool.
I would also like to do an insight check.
Okay.
Monstrous, my dude. That's 24.
Okay. Yeah, you as you're like really focusing on what was yours?
13.
Okay. So simple answer for you, Alex. You haven't seen your brother in a long time, and he might look a little more worse for wear, but you have no reason to believe it's not him unless you would like to believe you might be hallucinating. Um, but Agner, you've noticed over the last few months, especially with the time that Eridu spends with the druids, the lavender smell he keeps about him is a little less perfumey and usually a little more natural. Like he's actually picking lavender and reading himself in that. This smell is back to that perfume smell, a very strong manufacturing scent. Also, you know, he Eridu, the Eridu you know, could have so very easily just grabbed Ellie's leg and done a maneuver that would have twisted her so that she would be on the ground and he would be on his feet again. The fact that that the maneuver he took was a lot more clunky and carried with it less grace seems to be something to point towards suspicion.
Plot thickens.
It certainly does. It certainly,
Yeah.
certainly does.
Do you think we
Can
should
I
use
cast-
initiative for the sake of
Resolving things in order.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that because Egner definitely has a plan for what to do now that he's figured out a thing or two. It's gonna take him a while to think about it and actually do whatever it is that he will do. I have this many. I got 2
Mhm.
right at the bottom, I bet.
Me too.
I got 15.
9.
What are we rolling? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Initiative.
Ah. 12.
And I need to pull up the stat block.
You need to pull up what?
A stat block.
block.
Oh.
You know what we always said back in the Crows game, if it has a stat block, it can be killed.
That's true.
I don't remember that, but I
No,
believe you.
I think I remember that because I remember Eric saying like, "Oh no, I don't make stat
That's why you
blocks
don't-
for
yeah,
the
stat
gods. I don't do that because once you give something a stat block, that means it's gonna die." You know.
What level
Got
are
it.
you guys at right now? Are you level 12 or 13?
We're 11, my dude.
11.
You
that's
told
right.
me 11, so
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine. I was trying to figure out if I leveled up Eridu properly. So we're good.
Word.
And I didn't only level him up properly. I preemptively leveled him up for the next game.
Ah, You bad boy.
Or I thought I wouldn't need him in this one, but apparently. Okay. So, Eridu, being free of Ellie, is just, without looking back, kind of just overcome with frustration, is marching toward Leoden. And it's actually really intimidating right now, just because of the fact that
yeah,
there's so
she's
much
backing
aggression.
away and being pretty nervous about it.
Once he sees that, he slows down a little bit and attempts a smile. Sister, it has been a long time. How have you been?
I don't understand what's happening right now. I am not well, and I think that you can stand right there and tell me why you're here.
He stops at about 15 feet from you and says, I'm here to save you.
Save me?
Yes, you have been locked away in this space for so long. I've come to set you free, to bring you back to the world that we know.
Funny thing about that, I'm not actually trapped here. I'm here of my own free will, and I don't want to go back to the world. So, sorry?
Will you roll me a perception?
Perception?
Perception or insight?
Insight.
Yeah.
Roll me an insight. Insight makes more sense.
Well, that's a nice roll.
Wow.
Okay.
Alex is starting off super hot. First roll was a crit, dude. What?
I know, like when I'm doing terrible things, the rolls are high, and then when I'm trying to be actually useful, it's
Oh, I see. That was sarcasm. I thought you were genuinely excited about that roll. Oh, whoops. Okay.
Oh, what was the total? Sorry.
my insight is bad. It's a 12.
Okay. You do notice that he's kind of still slightly taking like tentative steps toward you. And as he takes about the third one, the grass begins to grow around his feet and wind its way up his ankles. Ellie, it's your turn.
Okay, how far away has he got from me?
He's got a speed of 45, and I'm gonna say he probably moved about 30 of it because I think he would have been able to make it all the way to lead in one stride.
Right. I am going to. Oh, I'm gonna run up behind him, and I think I'm going to attack him.
Oh my.
Oh, I don't know. It seems like a bit. Oh, I might just try pin him to the ground again. I'll try to tackle him.
Okay.
In the strength.
So I'm gonna be asking for a lot of rolls from you, Alex.
Yeah.
Roll me a d6.
5.
Okay.
Probably terrible.
Yep. As so, Ellie is running forward to attack Eridu.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I don't want to now.
No,
Sure.
you never want to. As you make your way forward and lunge toward Eridu, you hear a snarling sound, and as you are looking, you're seeing from the shadows of the castle a wolf comes charging out in the direction, kind of in the way that you're going. You and it are both heading in the same way as Eridu, but it looks like you're also on a course collision to collide with each other.
Okay. I think I'm still going to try and grab Eridu if I can.
Go for it. Make that attempt.
3, 21.
21 is the total?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you charge forward and tackle Eridu to the ground. As you do, the wolf lands on top of you. And you feel the claws just kind of rake above, like, too far above you, and they kind of just, like, he ends up bringing them in, and his arms, his legs, his shoulders colliding with your side, but his teeth dig into Eridu's neck and shoulder. Is that it for your turn?
I presumably am I like pretty much at.
Oh, so to clarify, you tackled Eridu to the ground, and the wolf has landed on top of you and dug its teeth into Eridu.
Okay. I'm just gonna shout. Like, he's covered in illusion magic.
Okay, yeah. For sure.
And then I'm just gonna stay, try to keep him pinned to the ground.
All right, Alex. Ellie has just shouted that he's covered in illusion magic.
Really, really wish that I had put a different spell in my spell. He's covered in illusion magic. Cool. I am unfortunately can't use that, but I am going to actually deliberately choose to do something with all of this and do calm emotions.
Okay.
Mostly for myself, but also for everything.
Okay.
Everybody calm down, please.
Everybody do the calm.
Everybody calm down, including...
Especially, she's calming emotions on herself, and then it has the effect that it also targets everyone else.
Exactly. Okay, I want you to... Okay, obviously you can't... You have to just believe me that this is actually what I rolled. Can you see it?
No, not really.
Whatever.
Well,
it's another
20.
I rolled another 20.
That's funny.
All right. Well, it's
I
actually
am not making...
Well, actually, that's a spell where all of us make saving throws. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily
That's
where
her-
you roll.
That's
Oh,
her
yeah, that's
saving
right.
throw.
Oh,
Calm
it's
your
your
own
saving
emotions.
throw. Oh, okay.
All right.
I see.
What's the save on it?
What is the DC for that?
And what do you even roll?
Well, I'm gonna look this up.
It's a
Charisma save.
charisma save, yeah.
Got a 14.
I would assume in this case, if she passes her own save, that means that she's calm. But if she fails her own save, it means she's not calm. That's where, in the reverse is for everyone else.
That means it doesn't work on me? Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
I like it.
I got a 16 for whatever
A
that
16
means.
is the DC.
Oh, okay.
And it's charisma, you said.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Oh, it's, yeah, it's charisma.
Okay. I also failed.
Whoa, what now?
We should
Are you
all be
all
making,
frozen?
no.
No, I'm just reading the spell.
Yeah, we should all be making a DC for
Oh.
calm emotions. Check.
Yeah, I did that.
Oh, okay. What was it?
8.
8. Okay. So it looks like everyone has failed except for Agner, and it looks like Alex, you've also passed your own check, which is great. So
What does it
emotions
mean?
are calmed for everyone but Agner.
Oh, yeah, I can be as pissed as I want to be?
Yep.
Cool.
What I'm mostly hoping is that you could be.
Okay. Super chill.
I'm using it not mostly, but in part to keep the outside influences from becoming a thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think
But
part of
also
it-
because
Oh, good.
no, keep going.
A big part of the spell, as far as like what the spell is used for, is to I think undo charm and frighten effects, but also it's to like make the people around you who would take things as a hostile attempt as like
Mhm.
different toward it anyway.
Hmm.
But there's some. It's a cool concept, so we're just taking some little liberties here and there. But one of the things that's happening too is that the wolf is like releasing Eridu and rolling off of him, and the grass itself that seems to be rising up to just clamp down his limbs is also just receding, and the plant life around you seems to stop. Like Agner has noticed that even the wind seems to have picked up and taken an aggressive stance, and the grass seems to be quieting and not moving, and the whole castle just seems to be in this state of quiet now. That was with it being in this state now. It became obvious how chaotic it was starting to get.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm having some connection problems.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
All I was, if you missed any of it, Alex, I was just saying the whole environment is kind of calming down.
Okay.
So now that everything seems to be more calm, what would you like? What would you like to do?
I'm going to point at Eridu and say, "Don't move."
Right.
I'm going to. I don't have hold monster or hold person or anything right now, so I can't actually enforce that in any way. I'm just going to hope that you listen to me.
Oh, this guy's gonna cast Hold Person, but with his big old arms and bear hug capabilities, that could cast Hold Person.
Hill effects. It's your turn. You are feeling the calming emotions of this place.
I
now.
am feeling the calming emotions, and I am going to embrace these calming emotions, and I'm going to wander over to Eridu. He's now like what, 50 feet away and turning into a tree or something?
No, he's about 30 feet away, and he was being wrapped up in grass, but not anymore.
Okay.
That's close.
Oh,
Almost had it.
Yeah. Yeah. Plant joining adjacent effect. I am going to run up right next to him, grab him by the shoulders, and stare into his eyes, and do that whole like Austin Powers, like, you're going to go across the street and get me some orange sherbet, using my hypnotic gaze.
All right.
He needs to make a wisdom saving throw at DC 17 or be charmed by me even, and his speed drops to 0.
Okay. He fails. I've been rolling terribly.
Nice.
So this is an effect that I can now maintain as an action on each of my turns with no further subsequent saves. So it was basically a save or suck thing. I can keep him here indefinitely, but I'm also stuck here with him.
Brilliant.
So how it was is like Ellie was laying on top of him, and he was laying on the ground. So like just for the sake of clarity, with the calming emotions kind of set in, the wolf rolled off Eridu. Ellie kind of got herself so that she's at least like laying on the ground next to him. And you sort of came over and turned him on, like rolled him onto his back and grabbed him by the shoulders. So you're like standing over him, leering down at him, but in a way that says,
"Yeah,
you're going to do what I say because I've asked you nicely."
Yes. So full description is he's charmed, speed drops to 0, and he's incapacitated and visibly dazed.
All right. Egner, what are you gonna do?
Well, Egner is pretty much just gonna walk up the same distance that Halifax did. He's gonna follow the smelly smell of the fake-ass lavender perfume that he now knows is fake, and now knows that Eridu is covered in illusion magic, and has an idea of that Halifax is doing something productive, knows that Ellie's right there. He just walks up, and since his emotions are not necessarily calmed, he will just start barking some questions and say, "All right, if you hadn't noticed, am blind, and I have no idea where I am, what I'm looking at, and I've got a whole hell of a lot of questions, and I need everyone to start talking." He points down to Eridu. "Who the hell are you?" He points over at Leoden. "Who the hell are you? Where are we? And for that matter, is that wolf going to bite me? Because I really don't want that wolf to bite me."
And actually, with your sense of smell, it's not just one wolf. There are several wolves.
Are any of these wolves going to bite me? Because I really don't want them to.
Should I go ahead and respond now?
You could say something.
Okay. I'll try to answer your questions in reverse order. I don't know. They might. I am Eridu's sister, but I don't. Now I'm a little concerned about that, and that kind of answers the first question. And also, who are you?
My name's Egner, and I am incredibly tired of going off to yet another portal and ending up in some place where has a lot of people I don't trust. I'm sick of it, honestly, and I wish I wasn't here trespassing in your whole area or whatever. But okay, and then
I would like to point out, I did not bring you here.
Well, yes, obviously we brought our own damn selves. It was my fault as usual, as usually it is. It was my fault this time, so I'm sorry. And at that, he'll take his boot and nudge a little bit the form of Eridu down there, and just say, "All right, start talking."
Every time anyone does anything to Eridu, I do get a weird flare up of please, I get a little upset.
Oh,
right.
Even if I don't know
I
that he's Eridu.
I didn't kick him hard, I didn't.
Okay.
Didn't.
If you kicked him hard, then there might be problems.
He takes a deep breath and starts to laugh. First, it just starts as a little bit of a chuckle, and then it kind of rises into a high, maniacal, insane laugh. And he says, "But Hector, you know me, and Zarkon sends his greetings." The the voice changes from that of Eridu to that of someone that Leodin would know quite well.
Oh, really?
Voice is coming from Eridu's mouth as he is.
Is it Dad?
It is.
Ah,
Daddy is sending a message to Egner.
what? It's Agrian?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. In the flesh? Like, for real?
Well, that's where we're going to end for today,
Well, that's
so
where
I
we're
guess
gonna
you'll
end.
have to find out.
Well, hey, join us next week, and you'll find out, along with me.
And me.
And her, and him, and her, and her, and him, and everyone else. We'll all find out together. Is this really Agrian in the flesh? Is this Eridu's dad coming to wreck everyone's day because apparently that's the thing that he likes to do? Hey, we'll all find out. But yeah, thanks for joining us on Roll for Mischief. Join us next week at 12 Pacific time, Tuesday afternoon, and we'll keep this crazy story going.
Yeah.
Catch y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.